My plans today are evolving and changing. I was going to go for a run all day today, or most of today. It's going to be a balmy 64, 65 degrees here in Northwest Ohio. And my plan was to run a lot of it. But I just wasn't feeling it when I woke up. I am going to run today, but I don't know when. And I thought, what better thing to do than talk comics and maybe chat with some of you guys. Now, Comic Artist Pro Secrets just went live. I saw that happening, and I hope I don't cause their live stream to be. Whoops, hold on. I hope I don't cause their live stream to be, with no one in it. Obviously, I'm a big draw. Nah, just kidding. Those guys will probably have all my viewers, but we'll still have the live stream. So a couple things to chat about today is I picked up another little haul. I had a random person reach out to me, and ended up being 2.5 long boxes. And it's pretty, inconsequential. There's a few good books in there. There's some really good stuff that I like. And you take the good and the bad. And so there's a lot of stuff in there I don't necessarily go looking for. But this is the short box of the 2.5 long boxes. There was 2.5 long. This is, I don't know. I don't want to say this is the good stuff. But this is probably the more exciting stuff. The other 2 long boxes I was sharing with Bub. The other 2 long boxes, I'm probably going to have a garage sale and sell those long boxes for like $40 or something like that. I still have to go through them, but I think those are 2 that I'm just going to get rid of. I bought this collection on the cheap. Hey, we got Kevin R in here. Good morning, my friend. Bad Avenger. Nice to see you, my friend. Thank you for joining us. So this collection is a weird one, and I'm not going to dwell on it too long. I'll show some of this stuff that's kind of neat, but I won't dwell on it that long. It's a weird one. It was a guy kind of where there's no comic book stores. He tried to sell his collection to a comic store a few years ago. It was actually a comic store that I bought, and then because some new information developed, I decided, okay, I don't want to buy that, so I got my money back. But he tried to sell this collection to that owner right before I bought the store, and that owner said he wasn't interested. It was because he was in process of going out of business, and because there was just a lot of stuff in here that wasn't that attractive. So I'm just going to start showing some comic books. So it's a collection that this particular guy was wanting to get out of for a long time. We've got Captain America Sentinel of Liberty #2. Okay, and some of these are in really nice shape. Hey, CFAP is in here. Nice to see you. Comics for all people. Thank you. So Bad Avenger has talked about this on his channel, and I've talked about it. A lot of people have talked about it, that you can't judge always a book by its cover because, it's in there, it looks grimy. But once you take the book out of there, okay, that plastic bag was doing its job. So sometimes I look for those grimy covers. This is junk, and this is junk. I got some stuff in the front here that I'm basically just giving to the kids, and that shouldn't even be in this box. So let me put that there. But it's a smoky collection. I don't know if it was smoky when everything started. This is the only Buffy book in there. In my opinion, you can't go wrong with Buffy books for resale. Buffy fans are just Buffy fans. And I've got a pretty good collection of Buffy books I picked up a long time ago. And so this will get put in with those. I don't honestly know much about Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but I think that's what she's called. There were 2 of these in there. This is #3 and #4. These are in there, plastic. I don't think they were ever read. No boards on them, but that's okay. They look great. So, a lot of modern stuff in here. We have Midnight Suns Unlimited #2. So the collection was a bit smoky. and it was really disorganized. And there was probably a good stack of free comic book day, maybe that big. Nothing in there really to write home about, but cool to have. I'll pass those to the kids. These books will end up in my smoke remediation chamber. I developed that a long time ago. I bought a smoky collection. Over the course of a year, all the smoke dissipated out of there. And if you want to see that, I don't know if it was a tip of the day videos thing, but it was a cool chamber I built, and it's effective. So these books, what's cool is the bag and boards are absolutely trash. So I've got a little bit of them here. I've got some of them somewhere else where the smoke doesn't bother me. And they'll all come out of bags and boards. They'll go into a remediation chamber for a year, and then they should be good to go. So there we have Night Stalkers. I think there are, correct me if I'm wrong, five different of these black covers, and I know I have a bunch of them. And so this one is Night Stalkers. Let me grab my tape block. Tip of the day, always have a tape block. Get that tape safely out of there. But to prove that point again, hey, we got Hialeah in here. Great to see you, Hialeah. As some people know, I've never been on another show. Well, I stand corrected. I was on Metarog or Bubs. I don't know who did the show, but we had a Christmas special we were on with Go-To Geeks Lawrence, and I think Night Tiger was on there too. And we just did some Christmas books. But look how nice and crispy clean that is, right? So it's in the bag, looks terrible. Well, those are the collections that I always want to buy. Yeah, and so those are the ones right there. We have Night Stalkers 10, Ghost Riders 40, Darkhold 11, Morbius 12, and Spirits of Vengeance 13. So those are parts 1 to 5. And I always keep these alphabetic, but I should probably start putting some sets together. I think that's where they're worth more. Michael Gallant is in here. What's up, my friend? So these will, like I said, these will get tossed because they're smoky. The boards, let me give this one the sniff test. Yeah, the board's a little smoky, so those will get tossed. And this is a good example of why you want to change bags and boards. You can see where it has done its job. It absorbed acid. It has a little bit of a print of that cover. And sometimes you get these and they are a real vibrant back cover, and you can see that whole imprint on there. I don't know if I have one here. I used to keep one. Aha! Bonus day. Sorry to yell in your ear. I never did a video on this, but I can, or someone should. This is what I called what not to do, and I will show this people when I'm buying collections if they're like this. I happened to see it here near the desk the other day, but you can see where the back of the comic, this particular book, has literally just imprinted itself in the board, and that board is useless now. And but I keep it as a learning tool of what not to do. So I'm going to put that up here. We've got a Cyber Frog #1. Okay, I don't know what year it is. Speaking of Comic Artist Pro Secrets, who are live right now, I don't want you to leave my channel, but he's live right now. And there's Cyber Frog #1. So great. I got a buddy who's a big fan of the Cyber Frog. And so we have that. Beverly Hills 90210. I know this is C. Woodard's favorite comic book that ever came out. If he could just get all the autographs, that would be a real coup. Good morning to C. Woodard, superstar of the community. Brandon, Looney Tunes fan 2000. My favorite Looney Tunes character, my goodness. Boy, who doesn't love the Doc? I mean, he'd be a hard one to pass up. I think Elmer Fudd is Time to Kill the Wabbit. That's imprinted in all of us. So I don't know. Those would certainly be high up on my list for Disney characters. But there's 90210. Look at that. Yeah, Foghorn Leghorn. If you like a Looney Tunes character, shout it out in here. Here's Rise of the Midnight Suns, Morbius #1. I'm going to put this down here. And these are just, when I went through the boxes, these were just ones I found a little more interesting. It doesn't mean they're of high value. Here's Star Comics #6. I like the Star Comics Marvel thing they did. If anyone saw the big mega CBCS, I had 3 copies of Thunderbolt or Thundercats #1 that I submitted for grading. Drawworks, hello, nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. Undie Dog, I was unfamiliar with. I don't know what that's all about. Okay, not the cartoon dog that I love. I love Underdog. No need to fear, right? But this is Haley's Comics, kind of like Haley's Comet. Remember when that was the big deal? Here's another one I found interesting. Ford Fairlane. Okay, so we got a Ford Fairlane in there. This is issue #3. I didn't even know, honestly, there was a Ford Fairlane #1. But Andrew Dice Clay, the Dice Man, really just that young comedian special Rodney Dangerfield did. There were so many superstars on that very first one. Bob Nelson was on there. Bob Saget was on there. I think Rita Rudner was on there. Sam Kinison was on there. It was just really an incredible special. I don't know if it was HBO or where it was, but that was kind of the first time I'd ever heard of Andrew Dice Clay. And so I didn't even know he had a comic. The guy I bought this particular collection from, I think he felt this was his best comic in the batch. This is a Mr. T and the T-Force #1. Little shout out for Mr. T. Everyone knows who Mr. T is, but on YouTube there is the first talk show appearance of Mr. T was on a David Letterman show, and it was absolutely incredible. I have such incredible respect for this man in his discipline, in his train of thought, at least then. And I can't say I follow him, so I don't know what he's doing now, but unbelievable character, really a no excuses guy. He was going to be something special no matter what, because he had that amount of willpower. So happy to have that one in the collection. Oh, and it's got the Mr. T card on the back. Check that out. The T-Force. Not sure, again, what a value on this stuff would be. Probably not a lot. But, oh, Speedy Gonzalez says Bad Avenger. We've got this special Wizard Edition Kiss. And so there you go. If J-Pap was on here, he'd probably be an expert on this particular comic. I'm unfamiliar with it, but that's okay. This might have been one of the ones you had to send away for. Wizard was always good at having the mail-in stuff. And so this, you know, someone might have mailed away for that comic. And it's in pretty good shape. Couple of color-breaking spine ticks over here. And yeah, so it's a small comic. Looks like a kind of a preview of things. Kiss and Tell, and there's a gallery of art. Pretty neat, but I know I don't have one. I'm going to put it back in there just because it's a black shiny cover. I want to protect it a little bit till I can get that one figured out. All right, so we quickly get into some cooler stuff here. Just a couple of notable things in the beginning. Spider-Man and Captain Marvel team up is in there. This was a cool one, probably the oldest one, and it's signed with the owner's name, which is why I have it in here to show you guys. Rawhide Kid #117. Probably no value to it, but that was very common back in the day when young kids would have comics, and more importantly, they would trade them. Or maybe they had a big family, you know, maybe 5 kids or 10 kids in the family or more. You know, it wasn't uncommon back then to have families with 10 kids in them. And you would write your name on the book just to make sure you got it back. Or if you loaned it to a buddy, you knew it was coming back to you if your name was on the cover. So you do find these, and I don't think it's that big a deal. I have a lot of them like that, and it's a reader copy. It's not a collector investment copy. Sorry if I'm shaking the table here. Yeah, highly accommodating. He signs them all. I don't think that's the case. Aggressively relaxing. Nice to see you, buddy. Okay, and this one's another great example of one that I don't discriminate when I find these. I've found collections like this before, and you know, like I say, you take the good with the bad. I think it's cool. I think it's a really cool part of comic history. You're going to see what I mean here in just a second. This is GI Combat number 167. Can't even get it out of there. That bag's going in the trash. So this book, let me find the date on it. This is 1973, December of 73. Okay, we've got a rip over here. We've got 5 cents written on there, but the most important thing here is you can see where this was kept in a 3-ring binder. And there weren't a lot of collectors that did that, but there were plenty, because I've found a lot of these over the years where you can literally see right through them, and you hope that whoever had the 3-hole punch was careful that they weren't punching through any of the words, but it goes right through there, and that's okay. Again, it's a reader copy. It's not worth anything, but it's a cool part of history, and it looks like it has a backwards date stamp on it. Now that I'm looking at it up close, and that could have been the store that sold it, and it could have just been someone was a maniac with a date stamp. Who knows? So we have that. We have a Marvel Tales number 193. And I particularly like this box that goes around it. I think that is super cool. It's a great cover. And this particular one looks to be in really nice condition. Again, we have about the most worn out of bags. But I'm not going to pull everyone out of here, but if you pull it out of there, it's probably in really nice shape. Okay. This was the only reprint book in there, but I love finding the milestone reprints whenever I can, so that's a bonus. We've got Marvel Rising Zero, and anything with a Spider-Gwen on the cover certainly has my attention. There's a lot of upcoming characters on here, at the time anyway, and I think this is 2018 or 2017 when this came out. Yeah, June 2018, Marvel Rising number 0. And whether you like the book or not, in my case, it does have a Spider-Gwen on it, so it makes the cut for keepers. So actually, I'm going to put that one over here. And we've got a Wolverine number 88. That was a nice little one to find. Okay, not worth a ton, but in good shape. So great to have. I probably have a bunch of those. Aggressively says, whenever I get a comic signed, I make the creator write, if you have this book, something has gone horribly wrong. Very funny. We have one lenticular in here. And so this has Amazing Spider-Man number 6. And if I can turn it to see right, is in here. King Size Special number 6. And then I can't quite make out what the other book is, but pretty cool nonetheless. That one's in there, more modern. This was kind of a neat one. This is, I think, first appearance of the Toxic Avenger. This is Marvel Age number 98. Not in perfect shape, but it's a cool first appearance. We've got that. He had a bunch of Spawns. This is Spawn number 9. I'm finding a bunch of these lately. This first, I think it's first Angela. And then he had his Wolverine number 65. There's a ton of Wolverines that were in this collection. And so, you know, I'll eventually go through and organize those, and those will be fine. This was a cool one. This is Brooks Robinson number 1. I do like these sports issues, and a little organizational that I do is I literally have a section under the letter S called Sports. I have a section under the letter R called Rock and Roll. For anything that's music related goes in rock and roll. Anything sports related goes in sports. I don't separate them out. The exception to that is I do have a few issues. Like I've got this Jackie Robinson number 4, which is kind of a ghost. It's in really perfect shape. and not perfect, but really, really nice shape. And it's a ghost of a comic. So this, because it's a golden age, it's larger. This goes in just with my golden age alphabetically. But usually, if I have any of the sports or NASCAR or any of that, they all go under sports, so I know where to find them. Oh, we got Vincenzo C in here. Thank you, Vincenzo C. And Keep It Comics. Good morning. How are you today? Here's one I was unfamiliar with. It looks to be unread. Corners are perfect. Stupid #1 by Image. And I just, heck, I just thought it was cool. And I've never seen one before. I don't think I have one. But at some point, who really knows? So Stupid #1. I'm going to put that back here. Billy Tucci. We've got She on here. Some of you may remember Billy custom signed. I have a price guide. I think it's in one of the other rooms, but he custom did a remark and signature on it. He had done the cover a couple years ago for one of the Overstreet guides, the oversized. So I bought that from him directly, and he signed it. But love that. Let me see here. Okay, couple of these. This one I was unfamiliar with. Now Comics Rust. And it means nothing, probably no value to it, but I thought with the Alec Baldwin stuff going on, it just, the name Russ is kind of a big deal. So we've got that. We've got a Spawn #1. Every collection's going to have a Spawn 1. We've got #6, #7, #8, and there's #76. Okay, so those were the Spawn comics that he had in there. And then I've picked up a few of these over the years, but never this many in one place. But this guy had a son that's younger than my kids, so he must have been buying the toys. So what we have here is the Spawn toys you would buy came with a comic book, and so this is a set of 6 of these. Okay, and I like them. I consider them promotionals. I keep them in a section behind Spawn called Specials. Okay, but he just had a whole bunch of them. Okay, a bunch of them in one place. So I don't think they're really worth anything, but I think they're cool. They're really more for the toy. Okay, so there we go. We've got those. Neat to pick up. I was probably 5 cents a comic for this collection. I didn't pay a lot. They're smoky, they're mixed, nothing really major in here, and he just needed to get rid of them. He told me that right up front. He just needed cash and he wanted them gone, and he didn't have them. He didn't have any desire to go to a comic store, and he told me that right up front. And he said, frankly, whatever money you give me, I'm going to be fine with. And I think he was in a position he thought he was going to have to throw them in the dumpster. He was being forced to move. I think he hadn't paid rent, and so because they're so smoky, it's going to take a lot of work. I just I didn't even go through all of them. I just said, hey, I've got this much money if you want, and I'll just take them off your hands. And he was happy with that. Wolfpack #2. I love the miniseries books. It brings back such great memories of the 80s. Now this one, I don't know. This one I think is heating up. X-Men Adventures #1. And I can't believe it's heating up, frankly. There's a lot of stuff today that's heating up that I refuse to believe it should be heating up. But that's one of them. X-Men Adventures #1. I've probably got 25 copies of it put away. And this looks to be a nice one. Corners are nice and tight on it. Abbott #1. I was unfamiliar with that. 30 Days of Night #1. Cool cover. Reminds me of Book of Eli, frankly, when I see this picture. For no reason. I don't think I've seen clips of the Book of Eli. I like it. And it's my bucket list to watch that movie. I got to go to the library and rent it. And I haven't read this, so they probably don't go together, but that's what it reminded me of. So we've got that. There were a group of Avengers books in here. They're pretty beat up. Okay, but there's some Avengers. I'm not going to show them all because it's just when you buy these random collections, you get what you get. There's a X-Men 2099. Okay, DC Comics Presents 36 was in there. That was the only one of those. I think this guy was a modern collector, and then he would hit the 5 for $1 box probably when a comic store had a sale, or 4 for $1, whatever your store does. Half price on 50-cent box, you know, that kind of thing. The new Black Hawk, number 244. Okay. We had a Fantastic Four in there, number 372. We had a Hulk in there. There's always going to be a Hulk. Every collection that I buy is going to have some cool stuff. Starstream, 79-cent Whitman. Okay. I don't know if I have one or not, but it's pretty cool. We're in process of splitting the whole collection, and so there'll be dedicated boxes for things, but I don't know if I'm going to have a dedicated Whitman box. I don't know if I really have enough to do that. Speaking of Starstream, here's another Starstream. I just happened to see that in there. So I guess I got 2 of them. We'll see. Neil Adams Skateman, number 1. Not the greatest Neil Adams cover, but if you like roller derby, that's your comic book. I know there's people out there. Hey, wait a minute. We've got true royalty in the room. Please stand up. Let's cheer. There is Reggie Collects Comics. And just a little housekeeping note, everyone. Reggie is spelled with 1 G. Okay, this is no Archie stuff. The important Reggie, 1 G in there. Reggie, I haven't done a push-up in 3 weeks. Look at that, buddy. Okay, don't be afraid. I know guns like that are rare to see in real life. So you got them here on YouTube. It's very nice. Tony is in here. Nice to see you, Tony. Married with Children, 2099. I was just commenting, Reggie, a couple days ago, how I love how you mix up your back wall. You've got such interesting and cool stuff. Certainly, Reggie's got the bangers. He's put together an incredible collection. He did the X-Men the other day, and then yesterday, I don't even know what that was, but it looked like more moderns. I started looking at them, and then I got called away. Yeah, there it is. There's the gun on there. So this is just a random collection, Reggie, I picked up. I gave the guy not a lot of money. It was 2.5 long boxes. They're smoky. They're all mixed. No big key books in here. But what's going to end up happening is I am going to keep this short box here, and then I'm going to sell 2 long boxes. When I have a garage sale, I'm going to do kind of like Reggie. I'm going to have a garage sale con and just spread my stuff out. You know, there's always going to be people who are newer collectors. So you're getting a general idea, you know, of the kind of stuff that was in this particular Alien versus Predator. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there. That's the general gist. A lot of Wolverine stuff is in here, but I think I'm going to move on. See, look at all the Wolverine that's in there. The whole rest of this box is mostly Wolverine now that I'm looking at it. So, so I'm going to stop there. Okay, I showed you guys what I thought to be the interesting stuff. And this is all going to go into my patented Silver Age Dave smoke remediation chamber for a year. The stuff that I keep. It comes out of the bags and boards, then it goes in there for a year. And when I take it out a year from now, all these books are going to be smoke-free and damage-free. They're all going to be nice. And then I'll figure out what to do with them, whether I'm keeping them or selling them at that point. Who knows? So, let's talk real quickly before I go into that other haul, the one I've been working through. I bought copies of a book. Looks like Aggressively is doing great. Trying to do my first show of stuff I got from the community video. Shooting hands and books is harder than it looks. It is hard to shoot videos. I was doing it for a while now. I know Reggie, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Reggie's on his second go around. I think he was a big time YouTuber and then he stepped away. Channel went to 0 and then he reappeared a couple years ago and has just really exploded, and such a necessary thing, giving the community guidance and sharing so many thoughts. So this is a brand new book. I'm going crazy. I'm going Hannibal Lecter on this, but this is just an outer shell. There's a Gemini in here, which I was hoping there would be. This is just a set of books I bought from a online store. Someone had shouted out that this new Venom book was amazing. I think Comics Elite. I do enjoy their videos, and they kind of will give tips sometimes on, oh, be on the lookout for this. But they had said this was an incredible book, so I just went online to who had a whole set of them. No creepers allowed, Reggie. If you reach out to me, I will send you one of those, my friend. That you can't get them anywhere else. And let me see here. There is silveragedave@gmail.com. But I think you have my phone number, so just reach out to me and I will send you one. And the only other thing better than that is a Vin C once commented on the no creepers allowed, that what if you want creepers? It's really doing a disservice to the people in the community who want creepers. And so that was the day that I invented the what did I call it? The creeper getter? I forget what I called it, but this was just for Vin C. You would have, this gets the attention of the creepers right there. And so if you want to be creeped, I can send you one of these, and you can just have your name and address right in there. And so you will get all that creeper attention that you've been wanting. But if you want the no creepers, then you got to use one of these, because that'll keep the creepers away. So there you go. Shout out to Vin C if he's still in here. That will always be a part of the comic room. I offered to send it to you, Vin C, but you said you didn't want it. So I'm going to leave it in here, and I love it. Every time I see it, I get a laugh. That was a funny 5-minute video years ago. It took me about 2 minutes to build that after Vin C complained. And I just love it. And Vin, I love your sense of humor, my friend. So Comics Elite said this was a series you didn't want to sleep on. And as a general rule, my opinion is most of these variants are going to be worthless someday. At some point, the rubber's going to hit the road. You can say, oh, that's the lowest print run or this or that. I think there's a lot of people, including myself, buying variants today that someday it's just not going to matter. It's always going to come back to AF-15 and Journey into Mystery 83 and, Tales, what was it, 39. And, there's going to be certain books that are always going to be the big book. And you can even throw moderns in there. Thank God that Walking Dead didn't have a variant, because then who knows. Right now, Walking Dead #1 is the book to have, and Walking Dead #2, you can get it for a couple $100 in great condition. That's what I think is going to happen with a lot of these variants. And again, that being said, I go to Walmart and I'm buying the variants there. And I love them. I'm having fun with it. I'm not taking money off the table, but I wanted to show you guys this. Sorry, this is a long unboxing to get into a brand new comic. I haven't read these yet. This just came in, I think yesterday or the day before. So you're seeing it when I'm seeing it. But this is Venom #1, and I thought there were some cool cover variants on here. I think there's a 1 in 25. I didn't get the 1 in 50. That's the one I actually wanted. It has a koi on it. And I have a son who's been to China. He likes that, I don't know if you call it manga or anime. I really can't keep him straight. But he's into that stuff. So anything that has a koi on the cover, I generally am going to buy. But I didn't get that particular one. Okay, so there's Venom 1. And I don't remember what the first appearance is. Someone's probably done a video on this book. Okay, that's pretty cool. But there you go. Someone said it's a book you don't want to miss out on. So these will just go into the collection under Venom 1 2021. And so I am still buying new books, as a lot of you know. Reggie, can you please do a series on Robin #1. It is the greatest single new comic book coming out. I think the horror stuff is going to fade away at some point. No one is talking about this Robin 1, but every single channel that reviews them, Robin 1 to 7, is like 2 thumbs up. Maybe one issue was a but great series, kid friendly, super fun. Everybody historically had poor thoughts on Damian Wayne, and he has really been reinvented. So there you go. That's our new book unboxing. And then we go back to the surprise haul, okay? Unreal how many variants on the popular new books. MWK, exactly my point. Eventually, I don't understand how a second print can be worth as much or more than a first print. The exception being Hulk 377, where that third print has the color variants. I just don't buy it that the second one should be worth more, especially in the modern age where everything's being overprinted to start with. So that's just my personal opinion. If I had it all figured out, you know, I wouldn't have to make videos for a living. I'm starving to death making videos. I make zero money. I'm not monetized, but I would be somewhere on a jet ski with no phones and no internet, and you know, on a beach somewhere if I had it all figured out. So my opinions are not even the opinions of the management. They come and go and they change. And I'm the management, but half the time I don't know what I'm talking about. So, you know, grain of salt, right? That's what we do. So this was a mystery haul that came about. A guy had all these things. They were moving around with him to 5 different locations. He bought all new boxes, which was really, for me, the best part of the collection. Everything was bagged, almost nothing boarded, but the comics were in great shape. The original owner was buying the comics and maybe not even reading them, and they were taken care of, and then they got into the hands of this other guy. He moved them around a lot, and he finally said, I just don't want them anymore. They're taking up space. So Silver Age Dave ended up with them, and I'm going to show you, this is the 4th box, and I don't think I'm going to go through the whole box, but I'll show you some of the stuff I found interesting in here. These aren't alphabetized yet, and they are just random, really. So we've got some Thors in there. A lot of collections are going to have some Thors, but it's Bronze Age. These books, I think this collection I paid 15 cents a piece for. Okay, so with the bag, you can't go wrong. Okay, I don't know what the cost per book is if you take away the bags, but the bags are all in pretty good shape. Anything worth a little more money, you know, I'll end up putting a board in. This series, I remember when that came out, I always liked it and thought it was cool. So there's a complete set here, 8-part set. Was it Sienkiewicz? Is that who did this? I think it is. So there you have it. He bought new boxes for me, and that was the best part of the collection. It really was. I don't have any of these black boxes. All my boxes are white BCW, and because prices went crazy last year, I switched. One of my LCSs has plenty of boxes. It's an off-brand name. I don't know who makes them, but I like them. So BCW long boxes. Let me tilt the camera here aggressively. These are all BCW long box drawer boxes, and I have some shorts also, but I like those standard white boxes with my Silver Age Dave stolen from Captain Strangelife's labeling system up here, so I can label them and not write all over them. But these are my only black boxes. I've got 12 of them. That's how many boxes were in this collection I bought. And I think what these are going to end up being is maybe like Chaos Comics, and you know, some of the independents. As I'm separating the whole collection out by publishers, then you know, these could come in handy for some of the smaller runs. Like I've got a lot of slave labor graphics. I think I could easily fill a short box. So you know, I'll know some of the off-brand names, some of the lesser known titles. Anyway, yes, I think this is Sienkiewicz on here. Yeah, this one is nice. Let me turn this back. You guys don't need to be looking right at silver. So there we go. I've been seeing more organization videos. I don't know if they're old videos. I did one about a year ago where I did like building and organizing a comic room. If anyone ever wants to talk comic book organization or chat about that stuff, please give me a call or please let's do a video because I've just got 50 years of this and I think I've got it pretty well figured out at this point. So I think I've got a lot of little tips that would help a newer collector. Art, Bikes, and Comics. How you doing? Nice to see you. I hope I'm not missing anybody. Man Without Fear, #1. That's a great one. Love seeing that. Frank Miller, such a big deal back in the early 80s. And now, but not, not like he was in the 80s. He had his hands into a lot of cool stuff. So let me just grab another little stack here. There's #3. And we'll just move quickly here. Frank Miller and Dave Gibbons, Give Me Liberty. Okay, great shape. That's a square bound, what is that? Maybe a trade or a one-shot type thing by Dark Horse. Well, it says #1, Homes and Gardens. So probably a multi-part series, I would guess. Tomb of Darkness, #16 was in there. Stuff that I like that not necessarily everyone's going to like. And it's amazing how often I'll get one of these random books and I'll be like, oh, that fills a hole. I was missing that one. There's the Evel Knievel on the back. You can't go wrong with Evel Knievel. Jambo's in here. Nice to see you, Jambo. A couple of years ago when Doom had his big contest, I went out and I bought this issue. You were able to do your, I think it was a top 50 maybe. You were able to do your thing, but you couldn't mention Doom 143. And that was the thing that if you mentioned Doom 143, you were not eligible for the contest. And so I went out and I bought this issue of Fantastic Four purposely, because some might say Silver's pretty dumb, but I bought it because it was 143 with Doom on the cover. So I had the opportunity to say Doom 143 without actually breaking the rules of the contest. And I think he liked that. But the big reason I like this is it's got a great minty type condition Evel Knievel ad on the back. And so in my comic room, take your Dramamine, fellas. I'm going to move the camera so it's getting shaky. In my room, as some of you know, I have a big Evel Knievel collection. And so I keep this book here actually facing backwards. And it's got that Evel Knievel ad that I just love. Okay, I love the ads as a kid and loved Evel Knievel. So that one's a win-win. All right, so now we're back. Pit and the Pendulum we have in there. And these Marvel Classics, I have a bunch of them. Always like getting more. Shout out to what was it, Mary Shelley, Frankenstein right there. I don't know who you think. Jambo, hello. If I didn't say hi, good morning to Jambo. Someone earlier asked who's your favorite Looney Tune character, and we all shouted that out. So who's your favorite horror character? I would have to lean towards Frankenstein, and frankly, I'm going to give the edge to Frankenstein because of Gene Wilder, Dr. Frankenstein. Greatest movie. I just love it as a horror movie. But you'd be hard-pressed. You take the Lost Boys and vampires and all that. The scariest movie I ever saw was the original Blob movie, where they don't even show the Blob, just people running and screaming. I was a little kid. I should have been in bed, but I had my head around the corner of the couch watching it. My parents didn't know I was there, and it just gave me nightmares for the longest time. So I don't think of the Blob as a horror character, but if you got one you like, go ahead and shout it out. A couple horror comics that were in here. Uncanny Tales from the Grave, #11. 15 cents a book, right? How can you lose? There's 234. Okay. like that. What am I missing here? Do you have your spec book separate from your main collection? Keep It Comics asks. Good question. I have always kept a separate box that has, I'm going to say, some bigger books in it. Um, it's in this room. These boxes here are both bigger books, but no, my family knows if something happened to me, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to clean these walls out. Everything on a wall is something that's important to me. Not necessarily a big book, but like I'll show this one. Okay, this is a key book for some people. For me, this was just an early book that my Busha, that's Polish for grandma, it's a book my Busha bought me. She walked me by the hand, I don't know, maybe a half mile to this White Hen Pantry in Chicago, kind of like a 7-Eleven, and they had a rack. It was a big gray rack, and she would buy me comics. And so I've got the note on here of how I drew in this. I cut out a coupon for $6 Million Man, something, and it's read to death. There's not a whole lot left. But if there was a fire and I could only save one comic, this might be the one right there. Value 0 to anyone else, but to Silver, that's a great one. So I do have some books separated off that are higher value. I do have a separate box for Spider, anything with Gwen in the title for my daughter Gwen. I'm up to 20 copies of Edge of Spider-Verse #1, 20 minty copies. So those are separate. That would probably be a box I would grab because that's really for her someday. Maybe pay off some college debt or just have them. Who knows? There's Unexpected. Nice one to have in there. Grotto Orloff is in here. I am part of the Grotto Orloff army. I haven't seen a live stream in a little while. I don't know why that is. I was really more focused on running this summer than comic books. But Grotto, big time. Thanks for being in here. Let's see. Aggressively said, spending too much money to be a smartass is something I really appreciate. Also, a nice copy of that FF. There you go. Yeah, I saw it as money well spent, and it had the side benefit. Marvel Spotlight on Star-Lord. And then this is Dragon Lord Spotlight. Okay, so those were in there. And really nothing else of terrible consequence. I could keep showing books in here. It had this Hulk Smash series. It's got some other Hulk stuff in here. But for the most part, it's just a collection I bought. There's always going to be one of those in there, right? Who doesn't have 20 of those? He has some Superman in here, which is fine. He must have been a Hulk fan. There was some Hulk. I don't think there was any big-time Hulks. Maybe in the first box. He did have a lot of Elseworld type stuff that I've shown off. So there's some Superman, Man of Steel, Elseworld titles. But I've always found buying collections for me, I've found to be just really, really fun. I mention it all the time. One of probably my favorite movie is that Castaway with Tom Hanks, and his outlook on things. That you go to bed every morning, the sun comes up, and you never know what the tide's going to bring in. So no matter where I am in life, I always try to look at life that way. But ultimately, when you buy collections, that phone rings, and you never know what's going to be in there. So like the Smokey collection we just went through, that guy called me, and it was probably 8:30 at night, and I was at his house 8 a.m. the next morning. I grabbed some cash, and I went right over there because you don't know what's going to be in there. There's Moon Knight was in there. This Garth Ennis series, Woodard would probably be the expert on that, but Dick's #2. I think he had a few issues. Caliber Comics. I don't have a lot of Caliber Comics stuff. He had a ton of Swamp Thing books. Let me put these back in there. There's just a bunch of Flash comics, and these are all like new, unread. nice comics in there. Why the original person was buying them, I really don't know, but there were a bunch in there. So at 15 cents a piece, I always feel like, you know what, if I have them already or if it's not my cup of tea, I can always put them in a dollar box some other time. And I'm coming ahead. But mostly I get to, find the stuff I like. And let me get a couple of these out. I'll show a few of the Swamp Things, and then we're gonna end this and move on. So that's a nice homage cover. I don't know. Do you call it an homage cover if it's the same character? I don't know. Of course, I like the original more than I like the homage. But there you go, Swamp Thing. That's issue number 33. We've got 34. Here we've got a 43, but this looks, yeah, it's in order. It looks older, but it's actually newer. 44, and there's 46. 51's in there. There's just a whole bunch of these. And of course I like the 20-cent horror art more than I like the 75-cent horror art, but that's still pretty cool. And you never know, there might be someone out there that was just wanting this particular series to be complete. So there's 53, 54, 55. So it's a pretty solid little run. Bub's Comics a while ago did a thing where he talked about these Charleston Chews. There was an actual ad where if you bought maybe 3 Charleston Chews and you sent in the wrapper, you got a Wolverine comic. That's kind of hard to find. So there's a Charleston Chew ad and just a whole bunch of more Swamp Things. So I don't know, unless you guys have some questions. I think I've shown, kind of the coolest stuff out of this particular thing. There's some Starman in there, nothing to really write home about. I don't know what else is in here. Some Green Arrow and Green Lanterns in the back. But that's all I really have to say. So however long we've been on, 52 minutes, that's about an hour. So I'm going to give a big thank you, great appreciation for anyone that took time to join us. Oh, you know what? Looney Tunes. Why didn't I show these? I bought a collection a while back, and it had these Looney Tunes in it. And I'm a Cubs fan. I'm from Chicago originally. And I got a big kick out of these. So Wile E. Coyote, I don't know if he came up as a Looney Tune, but look at that. That's a holographic Elmer Fudd at catcher. And there's 2 of those in there. Pepe Le Pew is in there. It's like all the Looney Tunes playing baseball. And I don't know if these are baseball cards or I don't know if these are Looney Tune cards, but there's a ton of them. They're both sides. Maybe they're animation cells that have been reprinted. I just really don't know much about this. Mighty Angelo, the world's strongest flea. Okay. And so there, I guess that's how you flip them. So I thought these were pretty cool. Rabbit Season. There's Elmer. We were talking about that earlier. I should have shown those. I really missed out on a good opportunity. But it maybe is a complete set. They were just in with a baseball card collection I bought. And Brandon's still here. Yeah, Brandon would love those. So at some point, I don't really know what to do with these. I'm not a huge baseball fan. My best friend in the world, Frank, is a huge baseball fan. And so I picture these probably ending up in his hands someday. He's a giant Cubs fan, so he would appreciate that. There are some branded cards in here that have actual team hats that are being used. Most of these, okay, love that guy. Most of these are just more of a generic nature. This looks like the Dodgers. Anyway, cool stuff. When you buy collections, I guess the moral of the story is you never know what you're going to get. And there's lots of cool stuff. I learned my lesson. I try to stay in my own lane and only buy comic stuff. But every now and then something else comes along that's close enough that I jump on it. So anyway, that's it, guys. I'm gonna finish up, clean up a little bit in here. I'm gonna get the smoky stuff into a remediation chamber, and I'm gonna go about my day. Maybe a run, maybe who knows what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna have a smile on my face, and I'm gonna be thinking of you guys and getting some fresh air. Winter's coming, so get outside. That's it for today. So with that, guys, thanks for joining me. Silver Age Dave is out.